Thank you for joining us today for another exclusive interview sponsored by Emovet. Help your horses reach their maximum potential with Emovet's line of natural homeopathic products. I'm your host today, Aurelian Dramian. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Jason Warren, a seasoned trainer with over 20 years of experience in the industry. Warren has his sights set on one of the Australia's most prestigious races, the Everest, with his promising mare, Benedetta. Following her recent victory in the Group 1, the Goodwood, Benedetta is on the radar for a coveted slot in the Everest. We'll discuss her preparation, Warren's training strategies, and the role his wife, Kate, plays in their successful partnership. Stay tuned for an insightful conversation with a trainer who is no stranger to the high and low of racing. So, well, first of all, Jason, great to have you here. And also, how do you feel about Benedetta's chance
Thank you very much.
securing a slot in the Everest? And what would this mean for you and your stable, to have a runner in that prestigious race?
Oh, look, I think it means a lot. We're a small stable.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, it's a pinnacle race for us to target with such big prize money on offer. It would mean a lot for our stable, and obviously, to gain a slot in the Everest is what our main target is now that we've proven ourselves at Group 1 level.
I can imagine. Can you tell us a little bit more about Benedetta's progress since, her win in the Goodwood?
Look, we took her to Queensland, which is quite a distance from Adelaide, where she won the Goodwood, which is obviously Adelaide's premier Group 1 sprint race. We took her to Queensland and competed in the Stradbroke, which is one of Queensland's top level 1400 metre Group 1 events. The travel probably flattened her a little bit, and we didn't get to see the best of her. It was more of an end of prep run there in the Stradbroke, so we gave her a nice 4-week spell. Queensland's a much warmer part of Australia than Victoria, where we train, so that allowed us allowed her to have 4 weeks in the paddock at Eureka Stud, and which is just out of Toowoomba, which is not far from Brisbane. She just had a nice break. She came back to us having put on about 60 kilos and really strengthened up and just in really good shape.
Is she, generally speaking, a good traveler? Like, have she traveled a lot? Is she feeling comfortable with that? Or what's your take on this?
Look, we ran her in the Silver Eagle in Sydney Everest Day last year, and that was her first trip away. So I feel that travel under her belt gave us a much better platform for travelling her to Adelaide for the Goodwood. She took the travel really well. We do try and pick stables where we travel to a destination that's a little bit rural, a little bit like our training centre here at Mornington, and she just likes a little bit of open space. And being a mare, it's all about keeping them happy. So for us, she's coping well with the travel. And yeah, we're looking forward to obviously this prep ahead. She's just gotten better with each prep. She was a relatively immature 2-year-old, and just each preparation she's just gotten better and better, which is obviously an exciting way to head into this prep.
For sure. In your opinion, what do you think makes her stand out as a potential Everest contender? And how does she compare maybe to other top sprinters, you've trained, like Bel Sprinter?
Yeah, look, Bel Sprinter was obviously a banner horse, a horse that really put my training career on the map, so to speak. But he was an electric sprinting horse that just had a really dynamic turn of foot. Benedetta's probably more tradesman-like, I might say. Is she's got a great ability to leave the barriers well. She's able to hold a spot, hold a prominent spot in a race, and absorb a high pressure, and then still sprint off that. I think it makes her more adaptable in these races. We can ride her quiet, we can ride her forward. She's very adaptable mare that's highly competitive. When she's in a tight finish, she really knuckles down and generally finishes in front. So she's won a few tight finishes, and she's a very competitive mare.
Wow. Well, you mentioned previously, that Benedetta has improved quite a bit since the Goodwood. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit more, on specific areas of improvement that you might have observed?
Yeah, so Benedetta, uh, like her improvement has come physically more than what we're seeing on the training track. She's obviously coping very well with the work. Physically, she's strengthened. She to my eye looks to grow each time she goes out for a spell. She just grows a little bit more, and even though she's now four-year-old mare, she's just kept improving and physically kept growing and maturing. The other thing that's been a real benefit is her feet. She's not she's got small feet, not the best footed horse, and we've always had to take great care in her shoeing of her and maintaining her feet. Basically, we've been able to have her without shoes on for the last 8 weeks, just to give her hoof wall a great chance to grow naturally. And she's got a great. She's shod today for the first time since the shoes were taken off after the strad broke, and so she's had this whole length of time with no shoes on, and I think it's just given her feet a chance to grow out, and she's lovely and sound and really good.
That sounds great. Very good to hear. And now I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about your past. Like, how did you get involved with race horses? And, given the fact that it's such a tough life, what's been the one thing that made you stay in that industry?
Look, I think I started off I started off riding track work when I was at school.
Mhm.
I'd go in and ride track work before I'd go to school, and as a young boy, and do that for pocket money. And essentially, my passion as a child through my teenage years was equestrian, show jumping, and various equestrian facets. So it was a natural progression for me to go into educating young horses and essentially riding race horses in their training. So I think that's where my passion grew, and essentially that's where I was able to forge a career, so to speak.
Fair enough. So you've had a very successful, 2023, 2024 season with a 12% strike rate. What strategies have contributed to this success, and how do you maintain consistency in your stable?
I think with the selling of Denniston Park, quite a large property that I had for a number of years, I was able to scale down. Kate and I were able to buy, my wife Kate and I were able to buy a smaller property on the Mornington Racecourse, which is 10 acres. Uh, we've also got another property that we have close by, which we train our horses on. Uh, Essentially, we scaled down the business, the operation, tightened it all up, and I feel that you're also you're only as good as the people you have around you. I've got Joe Herbert heading my team of staff, and he's from Cheltenham. back in England, and Joe will in time become a training partner, and we work very well together. And with Kate rallying all of the staff and sort of doing the behind the scenes work, it's a really good team. And I'm at this point, obviously I'm the front person, but I'm happy to get in and help and get my hands dirty and get amongst it.
Fair enough. It is very true. I mean, it's very much of a team effort. And I guess finding the right team can be also very complicated, I'm sure.
Yes, we put a lot of, well, more so Kate than myself, put a lot of effort into finding the right people.
Mhm.
And my main focus is obviously on the training, and essentially everyone that I have around me does their part. And essentially, the moment you're training more than 3 or 4 horses, you really got to have a great support network. And I have that now. And it's taken a while to build that team around me. So it's I think that's probably the reason why we've had such a great year. We're very well supported by Eels Syndications, who own Benedetta, Rosemont Stud, and that Rosemont are one of the biggest breeders in Victoria, and we're very lucky to train for them. So it's a great. We've got a good base of horses coming through every year, and that's what you really need in this game.
Excellent. How has your experience, with Bel Sprinter, especially in international competition, influenced your approach to preparing Benedetta for high-level races like the Everest, especially considering, the years apart in your stable?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one. Look, it's a while between drinks, so to speak, for Group Ones for myself.
Mhm.
Uh, However, we are still training winners at high level each year. We're still training a number of group place black type winners throughout the last number of years, and I feel that the experience of traveling Bel Sprinter to Singapore when he went over there, it was a great opportunity. But essentially, it's about keeping the horses happy, keeping them healthy, and rehydrated and eating well once they arrive in their new environment. So I have been travelling horses for quite some time now. I've taken other horses to Singapore and New Zealand, and it's and also interstate in Australia. So it's not something we're actually got 2 horses heading to Adelaide this coming weekend. So travelling horses, what we do quite a lot of. Um, it's about making sure that they're healthy before they travel, and also when they arrive, and settling them in is very important.
That makes sense. And how would you balance, focusing on immediate goals, like, for example, the Manicato Stakes, with long-term aspirations such as the Everest?
Look, I feel that training horses is a little bit of a moving target, and we can have our target races, but how we get to those can change from one week to the next. Uh, I was actually meeting with the manager of Eels Syndications on Benedetta's progress this time in uh, earlier today, and just expressed that how well she's coming to hand this time in, and she may well be more forward than what we expected at this stage of her preparation, and it'll probably allow us to have one run before we head to the Manicato. So we'll be able to go to the Manicato second up, which will be potentially even better.
Sure.
We did have a little bit of room for movement. Sometimes in preparations, it's good to have a week or two up your sleeve in case you hit bad weather or trials are called off or things like that. So we earlier in this interview that I feel that she's bigger, better, and stronger than she's ever been. So
Wow.
yeah, we're really excited about this upcoming preparation.
I can imagine. That's very exciting for sure. I'd like to talk a little bit more about your wife now, Kate. Can you describe your partnership with your wife in selecting yearlings and how this collaboration has impacted your success as a trainer?
Um, I think a lot of people have welcomed Kate into the business and also into uh, the environment of our life. Generally, the training racehorses is a lifestyle as much as it's a full-time job, and Kate has adapted to this very well. She's a huge injection of enthusiasm into the business. She's obviously very astute and clever as far as she does do a lot of homework on all of the horses that we purchase at the yearling sales. We do thoroughly go through each horse that we buy together. Physically, I have obviously my opinion on the input, and Kate also has a lot of opinion on the horses that we buy. So we've got to agree on them. Quite often we're buying horses that we can't afford for people that we haven't met yet. So it's essentially it's a big job, and she gives me the enthusiasm to get up and do the job every day. And yeah, she's a great part of the team, and I think it'd be a lot tougher to do it without her.
Oh, that's excellent. Very good. I guess you're completing each other very well, trying to purchase new horses and having different experience. Bringing that together is a very good outcome, I'm sure.
Yes, absolutely. No, we do complement each other very well, and we've recently got into the Arione uh, technology, and Kate's well behind that, and the
Excellent.
Equimeter essentially from France that we really are absorbing a lot of the data from a lot of our track gallops. Kate is across all of that really well, and gives the information back to me, and I can adapt horses' schedules and training regimes, so to speak, to 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 how they're coping, and essentially it's quite a complex job training horses these days. It's not just you know feed them and work them. It's about placement. It's about nutrition. It's about coping with so many different facets of the job itself.
Definitely, definitely. And as you mentioned, technology has been improving so much. I feel like there's so much information and so many new aspect of that industry as well, especially regarding technology and what it can offers.
Absolutely, yeah. No, we've also always trying to learn and improve what we do. We travelled to Newmarket the last couple of years in England, and just seen how the training is done differently there and across to Chantilly in France, and we're able to see how the training is done there. And obviously in Australia, it's a little bit more hustle bustle and short and sharp. And I guess that's probably why our sprinters are so competitive. But it's always very good to keep our horizons open and view how differently it can be done. There's no right or wrong way to train horses. It's about keeping them happy and healthy and fit, and then placing them right. Steve Leone, who helps me with a lot of my placement, he's from England as well. So I've got an international group of people around me. But Australia is a great place to train, and Mornington is a great place to live.
Excellent. Just onto the last question. So after waiting 11 years between your first and second Group 1 wins, what lessons have you learned about patience and perseverance in, horse racing?
I think if you don't have patience and you don't have perseverance, you couldn't be a horse trainer. It's a tough, relentless role,
Mhm.
and it's 7 days a week, and sometimes you have a lot more lows than you do highs. But I think where Kate comes in, once again, we do celebrate our wins very well. We're a stable, well known for our big celebrations. The day we won the Goodwood, we also won a Group 3 race that day for Rosemont. Um, it was it was a great day for our stable, given we've only got a small number of horses in training, and that just essentially we've made the numbers that we're training less, so I can see every horse every day, and they all get the time and attention that they need.
That sounds quite amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for the interview today. That was great.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for having me on.